What's up, guys? Today, I'm sick of everyone like showing their ad funnels and then charging $1 million for it. So I'm just going to show you the IG ads funnel that I run that makes me over $100,000 per month. Obviously, info is very volatile. This has been incredibly reliable for me, and we just continue to scale it. So first, before we can understand all of this down here, right? And this is a very simple funnel. That's why it looks very basic. But to be honest, simplicity is where money is made. So you'll see later in this video how well it actually works. But here's what you have to understand before we get into it. Where do the leads come from? So typically, the reason that people get screwed in info is because the only marketing they do is push marketing. And when you do push marketing, people don't want to pay you. It's like everything has an equal and opposite force, right? So if this is you and you're putting all of your might into this lead right here, let's just say lead, and you're pushing them into cash collection, do you think that one, if they do sign with you, that they'll be a good client, even though you're pushing the shit out of them, you're spamming them with follow-ups, you're doing all of this stuff, and then eventually they pay you, and then they're gonna hate your service, even if it's really good, because you force them to buy, they're gonna end up having buyer's remorse. And it's not because you don't have a good service, it's because if they really wanted to buy, they would. Okay. Now we focus on these sales tactics and all this bullshit. Look, the real thing that you want is for people to let gravity make them all these leads come straight to you, and you want them to pay you because they're attracted to you, not because you're pushing them to. So the typical funnel that people run is just this. They're using push marketing, they're going against the grain. All of these leads are coming into their pipeline and they are just trying so hard to get them to cash collected. They're doing everything that they can. And there's a massive part of this where they're going through a ton of sales resistance right here. So, for instance, this guy is going to end up in here, and these little triangles are representing all of the doubt that they're going to end up having about your offer because of how much you're trying to close them. Because when you're pushing people to do all this stuff, you're going to end up having leads that maybe they book calls, cool, but they're not pre sold at all. Because if they were pre sold, they would have DM'd you, they would have asked you to book a call. They would have asked you about your services in the DMs. They would have came on the call. They would have been ready to buy right there. I have people who literally don't know my deliverables and will pay me in the DMs or pay me like within 5 minutes of the call just because they've seen all of the YouTube videos of my testimonials. They've seen all the free value videos like I'm showing right now. They know all of my stuff works because they're in my funnel and they see how much they want to pay me, and they just end up wanting to just convert, and that ends up with cash collected in a good way. But if you're doing this and you're pushing them to cash collected, again, we'll get into all of this down here and how the actual ad sequencing works, but this is very important. If you're pushing them to buy, they're going to end up one, either having buyer's remorse, two, having, they're joining the program and then they want a refund, or they want to charge back, or you're setting the expectations too high and they feel forced into it, so they're really not even that bought in, and they're not going to take your advice as well. So, for instance, if you're coaching them, they're not going to take it as well because they know how much you pressured them into actually joining your program. Now, the way that we do it at my team, at my company, Stealth, is selective exposure. And what selective exposure really means is we are only exposing ourselves and what we do to the people in which we want to be our clients, the people who will become pre-sold. They're great archetypes, they're cool guys, and we ultimately get along with them. I don't want to work with clients I don't get along with. I don't care. At this point, money's cool, but I mean, I'm happy. Like, really, I want to scale as high as possible, and I will, but I would rather scale a really high quality client roster than just cash collected. So there's three tops of funnels for an actual good selective exposure. And notice the difference. In this funnel, you're trying to push ads up a hill. You're trying to push them up a hill. In this funnel, they're all falling to you because gravity or attraction is making them want to buy from you. So the three ways to get people in this funnel are obviously YouTube organic, IG organic, or word of mouth. Okay. You don't want to use ads just for broad, cold stuff if you want a high quality client base. You want to use organic because if someone finds you organically, their guard is way less down. They know you're good at what you do because that's how they found you. And if they come from word of mouth, great, but this is much less reliable than this or this. So keep that in mind. And when they get into this funnel, they're going to go through a nurture phase. And this is up to you to set this up very correctly. And I'll go through this funnel quickly because you're here for ads, and I will get into that very soon. But look, the YouTube funnel that you see right here is very strategically crafted, right? We have videos that will have people buy into my personal brand. We have videos that give as much free value as possible. We have videos that show client retreats. We have videos that show strategies, and we have a ton of video testimonials, right? And these are real high quality video testimonials. How Rav went from 10K to 42K a month in 92 days. He's about to hit, I think, 100K per month this month in September. How Johannes went from 41K to 104K per month. You get the point. And when you do this, and then you add story highlights and story sequences and story slides, like single slides of client results every single day, people end up just getting so bought into what you do, regardless of if they're pre-sold or they want to buy or not early, they're already bought into what you do, and they're going to end up being a really solid audience member who will convert in the future. Now, the bang phase is what we're doing down here, which I'm about to show you all of these ads, how we run them, what the CTAs are, what percentage of spends, the actual audience members, and how to make the custom audiences. But the bang phase is where we're running these ads. And all this is running high quality retargeting campaigns and running custom audience matching. So we're building these custom audiences because we know exactly what part of the funnel they're in, whether they're here, here, or here, or they're about to convert. We run ads to all of them. Okay, so this is universal everywhere because it needs to be, or else people won't have you as top of mind. They'll go with a different solution. So again, the main difference about where the actual leads come from to get into the paid funnel is simply just whether you're pushing them towards cash collected or whether you're attracting them and letting gravity do the work because you have a good brand and you have good authority, and they end up wanting to pay you. They don't even care the price. That's how you get pre-sold leads. Don't force anything. Now, let's get into the actual ads. So when it comes to ad sequencing, once people enter the funnel, there's a couple ways that they get added to one of our custom audiences. So number one is they visit our IG profile. Now we have profile visit 1 day, we have profile visit 10 days, and we have profile visit, I think 20 to 30 days. So all of these ad campaigns or these custom audiences are people who have visited my profile in that amount of time. And I'll show you exactly what we run to them soon. The second custom audience is if they simply view an IG reel that has been generating solid leads or followers, or if they get added because they look like an audience member that we're building a lookalike audience from. So for instance, if we know that everyone who watches this reel, who watches 95% of this reel, ends up following, then we're building a lookalike audience based off of that. So we know exactly who we want to run it to, and we're just making it for our specific country. So just US based lookalike. That's how they get added. It's Facebook does it for us. Video views or profile visits. Okay. Now, the follows they're the ads that we run for this are simply to earn the follow, and we'll get into that after I show you these two bottom audiences. Then for these audiences, we have just simply our followers and our engagers. We have engagers 1 day, we have engagers 10 day, we have engagers 30 day, we have engagers 60 day, we have engagers 90 day, and we also have 180. So every single one of these is people who have engaged with our content within that amount of days from obviously today, September 21st, from that day. Okay. So we run two types of ads depending on the audiences. To the IG profile visits, the real views and the lookalikes, we're just trying to earn the follow. So we're doing top of funnel value ads. So these are reels where I'm going through strategies, almost like this video right now. I'm giving you guys strategies for completely free, but we're just condensed them down into ways where I can show them. Because think about it. If someone watches this video, they watch this video and they see me helping someone who's at 250K per month, Ibrahim, a millionaire hypnotist. He's taking my advice on exactly how to run ads, build his custom audiences, and everything. Don't you think that the right person, the person that I want to be following me, will end up wanting to be in my funnel because they see how good I am at what I do? That's the entire concept. Once you hit them with a ton of these, and we're spending 30% of our monthly ad spend on these top of funnel just to get people in and get good people in, that is when you start getting a ton more profile visits, and then boom, if they just visit your profile, they don't follow, then they get added into this, and then they're getting hit more with top of funnel value reel ads. Okay. Then once they follow, obviously we're adding them to the followers campaign, which is right here. And then we're hitting them again, followers and engagers we're hitting with different ads because we're just trying to get the convo started in the DMs or we're trying to get the call booked because they already follow us, they are already engaged with us. Okay. So the way we do that is by middle of funnel strategy ads. So it's a little bit different than the top of funnel ones. These ones don't use as much disqualification language. So for instance, I'm just trying to keep retention from all audience members and let the good ones filter themselves. Now with middle of funnel strategy ads, I'm going through things incredibly in depth and I'm using a higher tier of language. So let me explain this to you right here. If my language is slightly more advanced in these, right? So it's more advanced, then I'm going to get a higher quality of lead from that video simply because they're in order for them to be interested, they have to understand the language that I'm using. So that's the main difference is the language and the way I articulate my words in those videos. And that alone takes people from top of funnel to middle of funnel so quickly. In the CTA we're running on these ads are simply just DM us if you want to learn more about this specific system. Maybe we have a YouTube video for them. Maybe we have a free resource for them or opt into the funnel. We don't run a lot of landing page because we want to qualify people in the DM so we don't waste our time on calls. We're spending 25% of our ad spend on that. Okay. So we're already at 55% of our ad spend. This is very important to understand. We're at 55% of our ad spend. Now, once they're going through these, they're also getting hit with bottom of funnel case study ads. This is when I'm sitting down with a client, whether it's in person, whether it's over a Zoom call, and they're telling me about their journey and how they've enjoyed working with me and what we've done to scale. So this guy, Johannes, joined me on July 31st. He really wanted to scale, or I'm sorry, he joined me on July 1st. He wanted to scale to 100K per month. Within 30 days, we went from 41K to 100, I think 4K per month, which is insane. And this clip is him on the first day on the sales call and on the onboarding call when he's talking about what he wants to hit. And then this is on July 31st. It cuts to that and people are saying, we actually did it because respectfully and humbly, I know exactly what I'm doing. I can scale offers like the back of my hand. It's if I couldn't, then you wouldn't be watching this video and I wouldn't have money. So keep that in mind. And again, the CTAs for this are either just DM us or book a call. I still focus on DMing us because I don't want someone random to book a call. And we're spending 25% of our ad spend on that. Now it gets a little bit deeper. This is when, after they're doing all these things, right? Let's say they DM us or they book a call or they're following us, they get added into a new custom audience. If they've viewed our Calendly schedule page, this is so important. Okay. Because if they viewed our Calendly schedule page, we know that they expressed some sort of intent to book. Okay. Even if they didn't, or if they did, it doesn't matter. They still get added to this. And what we hit them with, this is where the conversion just absolutely skyrockets. We hit them with bottom of funnel client results story ads. So when they're scrolling through stories, they're seeing a story about my client. For instance, I use June as an example, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4. And all of these story ads, they're getting hit with a sequence showing exactly how we're helping June scale. I think he did like 18K in his first like week with us. So he's an absolute killer. But all I'm doing is making sure that the people who are viewing my scheduling page, whether they book or not, are seeing all of these results before we either have the call or to re-entice them to go back to the scheduling page and book it. Because if we're just absolutely hammering them with stories and testimonials, how are they not going to book with us? They eventually will. And even if they don't, they're going to be so much more nurtured. And down the line, they're just going to end up buying in the DMs. Okay, so we're again going for if they didn't book a call, DM or book, but mainly these are nurture ads, right? Because majority of people who view this have booked a call. We still have a different audience for people who have booked a call versus just scheduling page view, but we're trying to nurture them. We're spending 15% of our ad spend on that. Okay. Now we go down. Did they book? No, if they didn't, then we continue nurturing them via organic, right? We're doing the actual top of funnel value reels. We're doing the case study reels. We're doing the strategy reels, all of this stuff. And we're getting them into the YouTube funnel. And then they get added into this audience, right? Obviously, they're still in the follower engager audience. And then they're getting these ads ran to them even more once they view the scheduling page, they get sent back here. So you cannot escape. I'd rather have someone block me than not end up booking a call or paying me in the DMs. I don't care. I would rather that happen because if you just keep bombarding people with all the results that you have, you'll end up doing it. Now, if they did book, this is very important. If they did book, fantastic. We have book calls one day. So people who booked the calls today, And then we also have 7 days. You don't need a ton for this. And all we're doing is we are just hitting them with client results volume story ads. Okay, so up here, it's one client. It's about, a specific client story. But down here, it's about all the wins that we have every day. So for example, this is one story and they're getting hit with this after they've booked a call with me. We're just hammering them with testimonials. So by the time they hop on the call, they're like, I'm done. I've seen all your testimonials. I see them every 5 seconds. I'm getting hit with ads because I booked. Like, let me just pay you. That's the goal here. Again, the goal is pre-call nurture. But they're getting hit. Boom, he closed the deal. He closed the deal. He closed the deal. He closed the deal. These are volume story ads, meaning that we're adding more than just one client success into them, and we're spending 5% of our ad spend on this. Now, if they end up closing, fantastic. Obviously, we get cash collected, money's in the door. I'm happy. And I get a new, really solid client because we were filtering them all the way up here. I don't want to just cash collect. I want the best quality of clients. Info has a bad rap. My dream is to turn info into a real, actual industry where people know that it's good. They know that they're going to get results as long as they work with me. And that's what I want. If they did not close, that's fine. They get added back again to this audience because they're already in it, and we just continue to nurture them. We don't rush anything. We let people come to us because when people, right, let's say this is a lead, people, if you do it correctly, you have, all of this set up and you have this is a lead. They will, once they go through this, right? Once they enter one of these audiences, they will eventually just come to me. I don't have to do all the outreach stuff to, cold people. I don't have to do cold email. I don't have to do all that because I've built a brand and I've built a system where people want to pay me money regardless. If you enjoyed this video, I'm glad that you did. I think you realize how simple this ad strategy truly is. There's a lot to do organically as well. Keep in mind that you cannot just run ads and not do well organically. It's very important that you do well organically as well. If you don't, ads are going to perform naturally so much worse. So do organic, grind, keep working hard. If you have any questions, DM me on Instagram at maxinhouse with 2 X's. And if you're not retarded, book a call. See you soon.